Hello BookTube and welcome back to my channel. Today is day 6 of Vlogmas and today I'm coming to you with the Christmas movies book tag. I did do a video earlier this week about my favorite Christmas movies, so that's what made me kind of think about doing this tag. So I hope you guys enjoy it. The original tag was done by Katie Loves to Read, and I will link her channel in the down bar below, or that video in the down bar below. I think it was done last year. She's a great booktuber. If you haven't checked her out either, she's really fun. So there are a number of questions here and they are based off of different movies. So let's jump right in and get started. So the first movie is Elf, a book that made you laugh out loud. The book that I chose for this one is Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson, and it's subtitled A Funny Book About Horrible Things. And it really is, dealing with her depression and her mental illness, but she is just hysterical. I do follow her blog and I follow her on Instagram and on Twitter. And I absolutely adore her. I listened to Let's Pretend This Never Happened earlier this year, and I really, really like that one. But this one, in terms of funny, in my opinion, was even funnier, and I highly recommend this book. Next category, Arthur Christmas, which is a movie I've never seen. A middle grade or YA novel that you think adults would love or could learn from. And I know a lot of people answered this one because I watched a lot of other people's tags said Harry Potter, which I agree with. The one that I actually went with was Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. I read this one when I was in middle school, and I really enjoyed this book. It's about a young girl, and I believe it's based on a true story, whose whole, I guess, white man comes to her island, somewhere in the South Pacific, I think, like, around Hawaii somewhere, and they all get on these boats to go to the mainland and leave her, and don't realize that they left her and her dog. And it is a wonderful, moving story. I think adults, if they haven't read it, would really, really enjoy this one and could potentially learn a lot from it. The next category is White Christmas, a classic book that you think everyone needs to read. Need I say more? If you have not read Gone with the Wind, read Gone with the Wind. Fantastic. You will not regret it. If you find it to be intimidating, definitely check out the audio version. I listened to it earlier this year. I've read the book about 4 or 5 times. And I've listened to the audio once. Love, love, love. Definitely, definitely read it if you haven't yet. The next category is Love Actually, another movie I haven't seen. And that is a book with a huge cast of characters. The book I picked for this one actually is Chesapeake by James A. Michener. This is an epic historical fiction novel that takes place over about 800 years. There's a lot of characters in this book. They essentially, every few chapters, you're changing the complete cast of characters to another younger generation. And it's the first thing that made me think about this. That, you know, essentially kind of like Game of Thrones, don't get attached to anybody because eventually they're going to die. But these books are fantastic. I have other books by him. I read Chesapeake a couple years ago on audio. And I want to get Hawaii, and I want to get Texas, and some more of them. Essentially what these stories are about is the history of, in this case, Chesapeake, the Chesapeake Bay area, from the time of the Native Americans, like the first, you know, arriving in that area, to, I think, the 1970s, which is when the book was written. Fantastic book. Definitely check it out. The next category is The Grinch, and that is a book with a great villain. The one that I actually picked for this one was A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Scrooge is essentially a fantastic villain. He's creepy, he's mean, he's all those, you know, great villain tropes. And yeah, I mean, I read this book on audio last year and thoroughly enjoyed it, and I highly, highly recommend it. Next category, A Wonderful Life, a book that really made you think about your life. And I kind of had a hard time with this one. Like, in terms of profound books, I haven't actually read a lot like that. But the one I did think about was one that I read earlier this year, and that is The Friday Night Knitting Club by Kate Jacobs. In the aspect that, as you guys know, I've mentioned before on this channel, I am an avid knitter, but it is more than just a hobby. I have made so many amazing friends, and my life has changed quite a bit just because of a hobby. And that's why this book kind of resonates with me and why I really appreciate it. You know, knitters, like other readers, are fantastic people, and I've been embraced thoroughly with the knitting community, with my podcast, And I love this book, and yeah, it really kind of reflects my life and how it's been for the last few years. Next category is The Polar Express, a book where the characters go on an adventure. This one is pretty self-explanatory in my opinion. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I mean, this is a fantastic, fantastic book, and it is literally an adventure. Definitely check it out if you have not read this book. I highly recommend it. I mean, even if you've just seen the Disney version, you really need to read the book because it is so, so much more. And it is absolutely wonderful and magical and spectacular. Next category is The Snowman. Choose a book with a festive cover. This one is easy. It is in my TBR to read this month. I bought it solely based on the cover, and then when I read what it was about, I was even more excited. And that is The Christmas Joyride by Melody Carlson. I mean, look at that. Can you get any more festive than an RV decked out in Christmas lights with a Santa hat on top? I mean, seriously, guys. I've not read this yet. I do not know if I'm going to like it, but from what I've heard from a lot of people is they really enjoyed it. So I am really looking forward to reading this one this month. And the bonus question is your favorite Christmas or holiday movie, and that is The Muppets Christmas Carol. I talked about that in my favorite Christmas movies, so if you want to hear more about what my favorite Christmas movies are, please definitely check out that tag. Anyway, guys, until tomorrow, take care and happy reading. Bye.